योगिनां हृदन्तरे वसन्तभास्करं विभुं मुदाकरं कृपाकरं सुधानन्दात्मरञ्जकं मुदाकरं कृपाकरं सुधानन्दात्मरञ्जकं गणेश्वरं गजेश्वरं सुरेश्वरं महेश्वरं गणेश्वरं गजेश्वरं सुरेश्वरं महेश्वरं नमामि ॐ विनायकं समस्तलोकशङ्करं नमामि ॐ विनायकं समस्तलोकशङ्करम् जय शङ्कर गुरो शङ्कर भगवत्पाद शङ्कर गुरो शङ्कर गुरो जय शङ्कर गुरो शङ्कर भगवत्पाद शङ्कर गुरो जगद्गुरो जय जगद्गुरो जगद्गुरो जय जगद् सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति 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 The previous subtopic. Sound is clear? Yeah? Sound is clear? Previous subtopic
Yeah.
told us. The previous subtopic told us how we don't look within, and why we don't look within is because we so clearly gain joy from the world. But deeper reflection on that idea tells us that there is no joy in the world, and this supposed joy that we are getting is only a reflected joy, a false joy, a joy which isn't really coming from there. It appears to us it is coming from there. if it be true that it is the object that gives joy, if joy was inherent in that object itself, then how come everybody doesn't find it? A particular object gives joy to only some people, and the same object can give extreme displeasure to another. Take a cigarette. Extreme joy to one person and extreme displeasure to somebody else. So to a person. A girl, extreme joy to mother, extreme displeasure to mother-in-law. Same object, same pleasure, same object, different portions of pleasure for different people. Fire is hot. Anyone going near fire will find the same. So we know for certain that the cause of the fire is, the cause of the heat is in the fire. Okay, so we say, well, how do you know fire is hot? Well, we all feel it. How do you know cigarette is pleasurable? If only I feel it. I or a few of us feel it. So what we are experiencing from the world, the joys and sorrows which we experience from the world, aren't there. It is something to do with me that creates that joy and pleasure. Therefore, it is a reflected joy. It seems, why do you say reflected? Because it seems to be coming from there. To my perception, it's coming from there. But that's not the real mechanics. It's not coming from there. It's coming from within me. Now, within me is what? What do you mean within me? Within me is some X factor. I don't know what that means. And if I go deep within me, I find that I am that X factor. I am not the externals. At the grosser level, you can understand easily. Here's a rich man. He's extremely rich. But is that richness him? Is that the human being there? The richness doesn't define him, right? He could be an extremely rich person. He could be Dawood Ibrahim. Madeline, you know of Dawood Ibrahim? No? He is okay. He could be Osama bin Laden. Okay. And an extremely rich man could be King Janaka. So the riches don't define the person, right? The popularity doesn't define the person. There is a human being there. We understand this. And what about the physical body? Does it define the person? Somebody is very pretty, somebody is not so pretty, somebody is fat, somebody is thin, somebody is tall, somebody is short. Does it define them? There's another human being in there. Somebody is disabled. And when they are disabled, we look at them as if their definition is disabled. And they get very irritated because there's way more to them than that particular disability. That's why they don't like being called disabled also. You see, have you ever tried to help a visually challenged person? If you give unnecessary help, it's irritating. Because don't define me by this. A woman, you call her a housewife, she's irritated with you because she doesn't want to be defined by that. Obviously, there is more to her personality than being a housewife or a career woman, whatever. Don't define her by that. So, at a gross level, you understand. At a more external level, we all can understand that these definitions, rich, poor, beautiful, not beautiful, career, house maker, don't define them. Now let's go further within. What defines me? Is it my emotions? Do my emotions determine who I am? How can my emotions determine who I am? Because I feel different emotions at different times. Me, who is the charitable person in one situation, may be the most uncharitable in another situation. Do my emotions define me? How is that even possible? I could get extremely angry under some situation, and under some other situation, I'm extremely calm and poised. Do my emotions define who I am? Does my intellect define who I am? Is there not something further? And what? That's the big question always. What is that? What defines me? And if ever we are able to find that thing which defines us, tells me who I really am, then the very pursuit of just trying to find out what it is, not even knowing it, just wanting to know what it is, makes you a
Yogi.
Spiritual person.
Very good. What did you say, Bharat? I didn't hear you.
Yogi.
Yogi. Correct. Makes you a religious person, a yogi, a spiritual person, however you wish to call it. Just the quest, just the query. That's all religion is. There ain't nothing else. Everything else is only means and methods. And for means and methods, there are many. Okay, like suppose you want to go to the United States. That you want to go to the United States makes you a person wanting to go to the United States, not which method or means you employ. So somebody will adopt methods and means as told to them from religion X, or somebody will do it from religion Y. Somebody will do it in terms of karma, in terms of bhakti, in terms of jnana. Somebody will do it with more symbols, somebody will do it with less symbols, somebody will do it in quietude, somebody will do it by withdrawing from everything, somebody will do it by plunging into everything. All these, whichever methods and means you choose, they are merely methods and means. At the bottom of it is the quest for that ultimate reality. And whoever has that is the religious person, the spiritual person, the yogi, the sannyasi, the jnani, call him whatever name you want to call him. So when we come to the drift in religion, that's why he's telling us now, what is religion supposed to be? It's supposed to be finding that, the quest for that. And when you don't go deep into yourself to find that much out, then what kind of religious person? What are you talking about? Don't tell me of what means and methods you employ. Tell me why you're doing it. Because that determines everything. Okay? So now you see the means and methods are what? Maybe you will have a teacher. Maybe you will have a book. This teacher and book or whatever source of knowledge you choose to take is one of your methods. But we forget the goal and fall in love with the method. Absolutely forget it. In India, there is this whole concept of Hindutva. And depending on which side of the debate you are, it's a good word or a bad word. I have no comment on that, obviously. I don't want to get into any trouble. But who is a Hindu? Shouldn't that be the first question? Who is a Hindu? What makes you a Hindu? To say I'm Muslim or Hindu or Christian or whatever, what makes you that? Oh, my parents were. And that's good reason. Your parents did many things. Are you doing them? How come this selective taking whatever your parents did? What makes you a Hindu? Big question. Or Christian or Muslim or whatever it is you are. If you claim something, at least we must know the answer to that claim, right? If you say, I'm a rich man, then we are free to ask you, what makes you a rich man? If you say, I am Miss Universe, then we can ask you this question, what makes you Miss Universe? Who has decided that you are Miss Universe? We can ask that question, right? So if you claim Hindutva, then you must know what makes you a Hindu. And if your answer is, that is what my parents, my grandparents were, then obviously anybody will ask you, well, if you've not taken everything that your parents and your grandparents had, then why this one? What makes you a Hindu? I'm saying Hindu because everybody here mostly is a Hindu, except maybe Madeline and that is on the second say. Oh, Naeem maybe. I don't know what y'all are, but I'm giving you the example of Hindu because it's convenient. And we have a big discussion on Hindutva nowadays. So, what makes you a religious person, whichever religion you proclaim? If you have fallen in love with the symbols of that religion, if you love the Murti of Ganesha, if you love the cross, if you love the crescent more than you love the self, then you are not in any religion whatsoever. It is like saying, I have fallen in love with the plane that is going to America. That proves I am not interested in going to America. I'm sitting in the plane. I want the plane. I don't want America. So why are you talking about what are your means? We're not interested. Tell us, if you will. What are you doing it for? Once you got that clear in your head, your whole religious path will become clear. What is a religious path? It's very, very easy. I have to find out who I am. Now, what is preventing me from finding out? What is preventing me from finding out anything? It is my ignorance. Isn't it? It's so simple. What's the complication? Now, how do I get rid of ignorance? What do I do to get rid of ignorance? Obviously, I get knowledge. Now, what knowledge am I supposed to get? And how am I supposed to get it? So, one of the things I tell you is you cannot gain knowledge if you're a very gross person. You can't gain it. In India, there's a concept that all knowledges are given by the rishis. You're familiar with that, right? Whether it is Ayurveda or astronomy or I don't know, whatever it is that all the rishis were so good at, medical, Shushruksha or all associated with the rishis.
Mathematics.
Mathematics, everything associated with the rishi. All knowledge from the rishi. Now, including philosophy, of course, including Charvak philosophy, which says there's no God. Even that is given by Rishi Charvak. Correct? All knowledge associated with Rishi. Now, the question is, why is that? If you're going to know medicine, or you're going to know mathematics, or you're going to know astrology or astronomy, you know, what has that got to do with being a Rishi? Because any knowledge involves two things. Tapas, which means discipline. You cannot get any knowledge if you don't have that kind of discipline. And two is, the purer your mind, the sharper your intellect. if your attention is on selfish gains through that knowledge will stay forever unrevealed to you. The moment you clear yourself from the picture, the knowledge will stand revealed. I'm not about spiritual knowledge, any knowledge. If a student is studying for his graduation exam and he thinks about how much marks am I going to get, the moment that I thought comes, the knowledge is denied to him. So, if you have to gain knowledge, you have to do two things. You have to have discipline and you have to have purity. Means your intellect must be in governance of your actions, whatever you're doing, and your mind must be pure. Means it's not me all the time. You're not a baby to think I, me. You know, that's how an infant behaves, right? An infant can only think of itself. It can't think of anything else. Now, have you grown up or not? Oh, how will I do? How will you do now? Can you stop thinking like that? A mature adult doesn't talk like that, doesn't behave like that. So, a baby does that. Suppose you say, suppose the baby in the middle of the night is very hungry. What will the baby do? Go. It will not say, my parents are sleeping. They've been working hard. Let me not disturb them. Right. Now, suppose you have a stomach ache in the middle of the night. What do? First, you try to say, okay, let me keep quiet. Let me go and do whatever I can. Let me not disturb anyone. Don't you do all this stuff? And then, of course, if it's impossible and you cannot help yourself, then you may wake up your family member. That's what you would do because you're an adult. You're expected to consider what is the effect of your actions on others. That's adult, right? So if you go me in life, it means you're still an infant. And what me if you're doing now? Why are you doing religiosity? You do me only. Can you go to an infant and say, now don't talk about your own needs, huh? You must think about other people's needs. Does the infant understand what you're saying? You go, "Wah!" Because it doesn't understand what you said. What did you just say? It's no comprehension. And there are grown human beings exactly like that. You tell them, don't think so much about yourself, and they are like, ah, it's like that. What do you do with them? You understand they are children, and children will one day grow up. So don't get into any debate. Children will grow up one day. It's okay. Relax. We were children one day. They will grow up, and we grew up a bit. They are children now. They will grow up a bit. No problem. But if I want to understand things, it is I who need to become conscious of the entire thing, conscious of more than just my needs, which means basically purify my mind. And this thing goes together, this widening of consciousness. How much am I conscious of? And purity of mind, they kind of go together. As that consciousness widens, my mind is purer. And when my consciousness widens to everything, I'm an enlightened person. It's that simple. Where's the difficulty? So simple, right? But instead of that, you say, my guru is so good, my religion is so good, my symbols are so good, my ritual is so good, okay, Baba, okay, all your symbols are fantastic, all your methods and means are fantastic. Now, can you use them in progress or not? So he says, if you get involved with all these external symbols, you stay at the very periphery of religion. Meaning you stay at the very periphery of your own personality. So go deep, go within. Means think for yourself. Ask the question, what is it I want? What will take me there? What is the help I require? Ask those questions. And when you start thinking for yourself, you will find that knowledge simply dawns on you. So, go within is the bottom line. And go within means what? think for yourself. Understand yourself. Don't worry what is he doing and what is she doing. Some people say, oh my God, those people, they come to class, don't do any karma also. They should do karma, no? When they come to class. I don't know who should do what. I know who is doing what. Or at least most of the time I know. What are you giving back to wherever you are? What is your concept of what am I receiving and what am I giving? Not because it's a business transaction. Oh, I receive 5 rupees, I must give 5 rupees. You call me for one meal and I will call you for one meal. It's not a business transaction. It is a consciousness of this. It is a consciousness of what people are doing. For instance, Bharat, you know how much karma he does, right? He's our karma king. He does a lot of work, all volunteer work, what he gives back for what he is gaining. And many people just like say, Bharat, do this, Bharat, do that. What do you mean, Bharat? Why should he do anything? He has not taken on any job over here to start doing everybody's everything. And yet the poor fellow, that's it. Consciousness of respect. And then when we ask him to do so many things, I in a class also, I'm guilty of it myself. In class I'll say, Bharat, will you do this? Mahesh, will you do this? Omkar, will you do this? Like they can say, no, I won't. But they do it. They do it almost like as if it's a job to do. When Madeline came for the first class, I'll never forget this, Madeline. First class. She wrote an email to Mahesh and said, what can I do? Y'all are doing great work. What can I do? The consciousness of receipts. That is why in all of France, she's the only one here. Gain knowledge to the extent that the personality is purified. So if you want knowledge, then find out what is going to give it to you. Oh, I go to Saturday class and then I'm going to become very knowledgeable. Oh, yes, sure. Remember, you're trying to gain the highest knowledge known to humankind. You think you get it for free? You will have to put in your physical labor, your emotional pain, your intellectual struggle. It ain't coming for free, buddy. It simply ain't coming for free. Pay a high price. And if you think it is something worth doing, then pay the price and get it. And if you don't think it's something worth doing, no, why bother wasting your time? That is why we are least concerned about numbers. How many people came? I don't care how many people came. What everybody wants to know, how many people come to class? Is their first question. How many people come to class? What am I supposed to do with that number? Suppose 5,000 people come to class. So मैं क्या करूँ? ना लेना ना देना. That 5,000 come, 1,000 come, 10,000 come, or 10 come. What difference is it making to anyone else? But the person who puts in what they require to put in, their life becomes different. They become truly religious. So it's quite a simple deal. If you wish to be a religious person, find out what that means. They have told you already. Religion means you go within. You find out who you really are. If you're still interested, find out what are the means and whether those means make sense. And if according to you all of this makes sense, then what's the next step? What's the next step? Makes sense. Now what's the next step?
Pursue.
Put in the effort.
Act.
Act, correct. Do it now. What are you waiting for? Oh no, this is very nice. And love Vedanta is the best knowledge. Everything is so well explained. Okay, then what are you doing? No, I'm just sitting and appreciating. What is an art critic or what to sit and appreciate? What are you appreciating for? Either do it if you think it's worth it, or dump it if you think it's not worth it. Now all these people will get on my case. No, no, don't say that, don't say that. As it is, nobody comes to class. If you say dump it, nobody will come next time. No. The genuine people will come, and these people, we will all go together forward. We're genuine about it. They really care about it. There's that internal commitment to it. And they are going to keep that commitment no matter how much it hurts in the journey. And believe me, this journey is going to be painful. That's why we are all there for each other. It's not easy to look within. It's not easy to see our faults. It's not easy to see where we are stumbling. It's very easy to see where other people are stumbling. Okay. So, moral of the story, go with it. Long explanation for a very simple point. Go with it. We are not here to determine what anybody should do. We are here to determine what we should do. All right. So far, so good. Shall we continue? Who will read the next paragraph?
I will. People all over the world, that's it, yeah. People all over the world allow themselves to be influenced by views and opinions of others. They accept religious teachings blindly. Few get to the merit of religion. If religion is to purify and bring about human evolution, it has to be inquired into, judged, and accepted on its own merits, not on authority. Your approach to religion should be to get to the depth of knowledge therein. Examine it per se. Judge it on its own merit. Do not accept anything because it was laid down by sages and saints. If you adopt their declarations mechanically, you flout the fundamental principles of religion. You miss the spirit of religion. You would do well to take up religion as you would science or mathematics. Study its subject matter carefully, reflect upon it over and over again, understand it thoroughly, apply the knowledge gained in your practical life. The knowledge thus tested becomes your own. So instead of listening to others and accepting religious teachings blindly, we need to question, analyze, and gain more knowledge on religion. We should use this knowledge in our daily life, critically examine its value, and only then accept it.
Okay, can you put that very briefly?
So whatever knowledge we gain, we should critically examine the value and only then accept the knowledge.
Examine the knowledge, please. You're not here to believe anything. You're not here to follow anything. You are here not to follow Vivekananda. You're here to become Vivekananda. You're not here to follow Christ. You're here to become that Christ. Don't follow. Don't believe in it. Your allegiance is to the truth, which you will find for yourself. Your relationship with the knowledge and with the teacher is one of gratitude, not one of belief. You're grateful to the teacher because the teacher has done for us more than anyone is capable of doing. But no matter what someone has done for us, the one thing you will not say to your own self. You do what you think is right. You do it, whatever you do, and you bear the consequences of it. So, if you think you're doing what your teacher has told you, then the minimum you must do is find out whether that theory is correct. Is it really true that your teacher told you to do that? That's the first question. And then second one is, do you think that's a sensible thing to do? And wherever you find it's a sensible thing, do it. Wherever you find it's not a sensible thing, shelve it for the moment. It is possible. Two possibilities exist here. Your teacher was wrong, or you haven't understood what the teacher has understood. There are two possibilities. Remember them. Remember that there are two possibilities. If you hear something from your teacher that does not seem sensible to you, shelve it, because you need to find out, is your teacher wrong, or has your intellect not grown to understand something? If you have chosen your teacher wisely, at least 90%, 95% of the time, it will be because we have not grown up to understand. But that's only if you have chosen your teacher wisely. If you have not, then God help you. In other words, you cannot abdicate responsibility of your life to anyone else. You just cannot abdicate. It's always your decision. Even if you decide to follow the teacher. Because I remember asking my guru this question. I caught hold of him one day. Wherever I used to find him, I used to catch hold of him and ask him questions. So one day he was having dinner, and so I went to have dinner with him. He used to come into the common mess and have dinner. So when he's having dinner, you can go catch hold of him. So that we were very few, in those days when we were, when the academy started in 1988, there were like maybe 15 of us doing the course with him. And so we were blessed really. At that time, everybody said, oh, nobody's there, why not there? And then the other ashrams, but we were really blessed because we had his, we could have his attention on demand, literally. Like going and speaking to your father, right? You have his attention on demand. So now it's not like that, because now it's too big. Can't do it. Cannot physically do it. So that time, so he was having dinner. So I went and I sat with him. He was in the common mess, in the common canteen. So I went and I said, may I ask you a question? Yeah, okay, because he knows seeing me means there's some question there. So I said, you told us that we should have complete faith in the teacher, and you tell us you to think for yourself. So should I do what according to me is right, or shall I do what my guru tells me to do? He turned around and said, whichever one you decide, it's always your decision, isn't it? So that was interesting. I feel like I am doing what you're telling me, but actually this was still my call. So what option do I have in life? I have to think for myself, right? Because it's going to be my call anyway. When I go to the doctor, he gives me a prescription. If I follow the prescription, then I say I'm doing what the doctor told me, but actually I'm doing what I think is right. Because I thought it was right to do what the doctor told me. You can't abdicate responsibility. You can't do it, even if you try. Whatever you choose. Some people say, why did you get married so early? My father made me get married, or my parents told me I should get married. You think you did what your parents told you, but actually, it's still your choice. The choice to do what your parents told you. Never can abdicate responsibility. And if you understand that, then you take good care of how you're deciding. How did you reach the conclusion? You take good care of that. why you learn to think for yourself. When you start thinking for yourself, you realize there are so many things we don't know. That's why we approach knowledge. We say, okay, I don't understand things. Can you explain along to me? And then you understand that knowledge, or don't, whatever, accept or reject it. But in any case, you have to do this yourself, right? Nobody else is doing this for you. Get that through your head, then you realize how important knowledge is. Because knowledge is like going to light your way. If you keep deciding where to put your next foot, but it's all dark around you, you don't know when you're going to fall into a pit. So you take in knowledge so that it lights the way. But knowledge by itself is useless. Just as light by itself is useless unless
We have a path to, we have a destination to go.
you take your step now. You're not taking a step, then what will you do with all that? You're sitting, all the light, the whole road is lit, but you're not moving. Then how will you reach anywhere? So, knowledge lights the way. But the steps I have to put myself. That's what he's saying. Don't say, oh, how beautiful. Like, we sit on Marine Drive. If you all have been to Mumbai, then you know Marine Drive. It's called the Queen's Necklace. So you can sit in any of the flats facing the sea and you will see the whole necklace. Right? Queen's Necklace. Now you sit there and you say, oh, what a beautiful Queen's necklace. Everybody comes to see it. Just like everybody goes to Siddhi Vinayak, everybody goes to Mecca, Medina, everybody goes to Rome. Don't sit there and see it and appreciate its beauty, please. If you wish to get somewhere, get out of that house and start walking. No use of all that light. So much light we have collected and so beautiful it is. Get up and walk, please. That's what he said. You must examine knowledge and use it as a direction for your action. But please examine that knowledge. No, okay, now we know we should do this and we're running. Examine it, understand it, apply yourself to it. And if it proves correct to you, then do it. सीधी सी बात है. Very simple, no? This is what I like about Vedanta, all very simple. No complications around. Clear? So what did this paragraph tell us? Think for yourself. And then whatever you have understood, apply it. And live your life according to whatever knowledge you have understood and appreciate it. Yeah. Nothing complicated, no? All of you all are good. Shall we proceed? Okay, let's go. Who will read the next para? Only Usha is quick. Everybody else, I don't know what. Are you all shy or what? Come on, quickly say. Who will read the next para?
I can read.
Go ahead, Deepraj.
Religion today is far from reaching its objectives. There is an inversion of a natural order. The self is being made a slave to the ghosts of old books. Well-meaning preceptors have wasted their time torturing old texts to squeeze out the truth, which was a matter of their personal experience. Others try to force their own meaning from those lifeless words. There are religious practitioners who swear by Pasha's commentaries, which are more complicated than the original texts. They place the study of language and text higher than the truths therein, and merely stuff the mind with authorities and quotations. Consequently, their intellects had stopped functioning. The well-meant efforts had retarded rather than advanced human progress towards God realization. So it's trying to tell us that we put too much value in what, like, we put too much effort deciphering what these texts kind of mean in their context and try to put them in today's light instead of trying to get to the root of what these texts are trying to explain to us.
Yeah, we pay more attention to the letter than to the spirit. So that's what we keep doing all the time. And now, he has taken the example of knowledge, because remember, he told us in knowledge, the same thing happens in everything else. In every ritual, this happens. Unfortunately, in the taking of knowledge, also we convert into a ritual. So then we say, okay, big question, how many books have you read? It's an incredible thing. How many books have you read? The more books you have read, the stupider you are. I'm sorry for all those.
Janki ji read many books, not under single word.
What?
I read many books, but not understood single word.
That is what happens all along. That is why when you're reading this book, look at how much time it is taking us. When you say that I've read so many books, obviously you spend no time with the book. How are you supposed to get any knowledge out of it? So, if you have to get knowledge out of something, you have to spend time with it. You have to spend time not in saying, oh, this is a grammar and this is the rule. But what really is that author trying to communicate? There are some people who eventually, because this book is going to become a classic, people will know it by heart, but still may miss the point. So he is referring here to the bhashyas. In bhashyas means commentaries. So in India, there's a lot of emphasis on these commentaries. There are the original texts, which are the scriptures, and then there are the commentaries on the scriptures. And imagine, we're such an old culture, okay? A 10,000-year-old culture. Can you even imagine how many commentaries are written on this text, all of which predate 10,000 years? It's like an ocean. And somebody will pick up some I never heard of commentary and say, that commentary says, I'll tell you recently what I heard. I don't know what to say. There is a full, what should I say, a full seminar being held on what are the dates of the 4 yugas. Because some people claim, like generally we all accept that we are in Kali Yuga, right? But there are 2-3 people who say that this is not Kali Yuga, this is actually Dwapar Yuga. Now we are going to have a whole seminar to establish whether we are in Kali Yuga or we are in Dwapar Yuga. Why? Because 2-3 people have found some book somewhere that says that, how we say the cycle is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, Pralaya, and then Satya Yuga, like that we say, right? That's how we've always learned the cycle. But these people say that's not how it works. The cycle is reversed. The cycle is Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, and then it goes backwards like that. Doesn't go back to Satya Yuga. Now you're going to have debate on this issue. How is it going to help you grow spiritually? Maybe we are in Kali Yuga, maybe we are in Dwapar Yuga, maybe we are in Satya Yuga, whatever it is, we still have to do the same work, right? So that's the stuff that goes on. And then these are big debates and discussions and seminars and whatnot on these issues. Then you will invite it to such and you don't know what to do. How do you tell them? What are you going to do? You're going to tell them, I refuse to speak on it? Are you going to tell them you got nuts? What are you going to say? Or are you going to go there and say what your real views are? You get into a big problem in these cases. Because nobody wants to know what you really want to say. They want to, everybody has to all say what is politically correct. So now, what do we do? So the books, where some esoteric meaning gets highlighted at the cost. No problem doing your seminars and debates on this issue. Please go ahead. The problem is it's all done at the cost of the real stuff. The real stuff is forgotten. So what religion, what spirituality? Now let us fight. Is it Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga? What Yuga are we in? We are in Corona Yuga, if you ask me. What is the use of calling it a name? How does it matter? The work is going to be the same. So that's what he's saying. Replace the study of language and text higher than the truth therein. All sorts of things. Let it be so or let it not be so. मैं क्या करूं? If we learn something that will help humanity progress, then at least it is worth it. Okay, let us do something by which all of us, but now this, there, or that. If we learn something by which we will progress, also a very good thing. Let us do that. But neither of these two things, irrelevant thing. So, religious practitioners who claim that the book says this or the book says that are, what should I say, are all not understanding a fundamental thing, that the truth is a person's individual experience. It's not about which book you read what in, but what have you found out to be the truth. Now what they do in the universities and all. Oh God, all these universities debate and discuss till you will have it coming out of your ears, but you don't know whether I'm going right or left. What he's talking about. I don't know. Are you all able to understand what he's getting at? I mean, he's trying to put it as subtly as possible because obviously you don't want to say things and irritate people. But the truth is what it is. So you're so interested in finding out what other people are saying that you no longer know what you are saying. Sad, no? As a human being, you should have an opinion of your own, which is based on some solid grounds. Not on what you feel, but on some solid grounds. Therefore, okay, let's proceed. Therefore, yeah, the truth is an individual, personal experience. You're asking me what I said, right? Experience means.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
it means you thought about it for yourself, and at the moment, this is what it appears to you. Depending on where you are on the path, it will appear like that. See, when a mother scolds a child for not studying, the child gets irritated with the mother. Then that is natural, right? It will appear to the child like that. But the mother will not get carried away, oh, my child is irritated. She will continue doing what she needs to do. And the mother says you have to eat something, and the child says, no, I want pizza. And the mother says, no, you have to eat spinach. So this is natural. So you live your life as the truth appears to you. Then you are an authentic person. Says everybody. If you want to quote the great Shakespeare said, what?
To thine own self be true.
To thine own self be true, and it must follow as much the day. Thou canst be false to any man. To yourself be true. Do what you think is right. You know, there was a Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya is like the Pope. Okay. There was a Shankaracharya who used to, how we begin with Om Sahana Vavatu. We used to begin with this above all, to thine own self be true. Shankaracharya is supposed to maintain tradition. Can you imagine? Because that is fundamental, right? To being a human being. Can you see the truth for yourself? That's fundamental. Okay.
Hari Om, ma'am. Just a quick follow-up on this. If the individual is feeling a particular truth, or each individual feels the truth in their own different way, but considering that there is only one truth, there is only one reality, everything else wouldn't then be classified as merely opinion or conjecture? And the fact that you haven't gotten to a point to understand that as of now.
Yes, correct. So that means everything is conjecture. So how is your conjecture better than my conjecture?
It isn't. But the truth being that the self is supreme, that is it. Everything else is up for debate.
Everything else is up for debate. But now I cannot spend my life in debate. So I have to take a step. So that step that I take has to be by my conviction. Because in life, it's not theory, right? You're actually living life. You'll have to do something. So I will have to live by the truth as it appears to me now, knowing fully well that this is the truth as it appears to me now. And I have put in the effort to find that out. Not just like, okay, I felt like doing this, so I did it. But I put in the effort to find out what, according to me, is the right thing to do. So yes, the truth is one, and I want to reach there. So how do I do it? I reach my own conclusions, decide what, according to me, is the truth for now. That's how I know, right? Everybody's is conjecture. Mine is also conjecture. But I have to do something. And because I have to do something, I need to be straight in my head as far as I can be. Is that clear?
Very interesting. Thank you.
Is there something? Where is this quotation from? Could you please share? Shakespeare's quotation or Hamlet? It is, you remember the famous Polonius advice, which has neither, it has this, all the famous lines are, no, many famous lines are from there, neither a borrower nor a lender be. That's that one. It ends with this above all. Rich, not gaudy. All right, so shall we continue? Okay, who's reading this paragraph?
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Therefore, you must approach religion with your head and heart. Be free to think. Use reason to arrive at your own conclusion. But the unfortunate trend these days is to boost up the image of a personality, and thoughtless people rely on his authority. Take matters too much on trust. They depend on outside forces to do their thinking. Thus, let themselves be hypnotized by others' views and opinions. This is spiritual suicide, the bane of all religion. So you must approach religion with your own head and heart, and think for yourself, and don't just follow blindly whichever authority you are following.
Very good. So first problem we have is with the books. We will not read books properly. Second problem we have is with the teacher. Okay, he's giving the problems of knowledge. So the second problem you have with the teacher. So fascinated by the personality of the teacher, that the teacher is more important than the truth. So these kinds of ways of approaching knowledge are spiritual suicide. Do not fall in love with the teacher. Remember always that if you're a Jnana Yogi, what is the definition of Jnana Yoga? Of knowledge? What is the definition of knowledge?
Knowledge of the self.
I can't hear you.
Knowledge of the self.
No, what is the definition of knowledge?
Discrimination of real and unreal.
Very good, Manoj. Nitya viveka vicharam. The discrimination between the reflection, actually, vicharam is reflection. The reflection on the discrimination, viveka is discrimination, the reflection on the discrimination between nitya vastu and anitya vastu, between what is permanent and what is passing. So the truth is permanent and the teacher is anitya, the passing phenomenon. The teacher may one day be there or not be there, but the truth will ever be there. Not going anywhere. Okay, so that's it for today.
Janki ji, do we have an announcement for the extension?
Yeah, we have to announce that.